Hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News. This is a time machine episode for November 7th, 2024. It is Season 3, Episode 312, and I am Mayor Watt. Sentient AI is not available today. And today we're going to be talking about potato dishes of the world. OpenAI purchased a new domain, 8-bit do retro keyboards. Maybe a different kind of Coke, Judge? Nope, not a different kind of Coke. How about stocking stuffers, food expiration dates, salmon fraud, fantasy movies to escape to, 43 Monkeys is the ultra sequel to 12 Monkeys, and nuts for rum. See you on the other side. Because everything is powered by ohmtown.com. You should go there and become a citizen. It's real easy. Then follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube. Download the podcast. Leave a 5-star review. Go back to YouTube. Leave a comment. Like. Tell a friend. Visit the Patreon. There isn't much there. There's a Discord. TikTok. See you on the other side. All right, folks, let's get into this. It is a time machine episode, so I only have an hour. Otherwise, I will be lost in time, at least for an hour. Let's go. So this first article is over in Non Sequitur News, what potato dishes look like in 24 places around the world. From Ireland to Canada, many cultures have a unique twist on potato dishes. The versatile starch is mashed with bacon in Denmark and stacked with meat in a pie in the UK. Potatoes are fried and enjoyed with rice in Iran, Chile, Peru. In the States, pretty much everything. Whether you like them baked, mashed, fried, or boiled, there's a potato dish. Mash them in a stew. Just for every taste. Here's how countries around the world like to enjoy spuds. Business Insider is where this is housed. Nasha Smith and Carolina Gazel put this article together, and that right there is how I like them. I actually just cut them up, throw them in an air fryer with some olive oil, and then when they come out, they're nice and crispy, and I do whatever else I want to do with them. So usually eat them. Anyway, let's see. Poutine is a Canadian classic. There you go. It says a delectable concoction of French fries, cheese curds, all smothered in gravy. It's a lot. It's really, really heavy. At least every time I've tried it, it's too heavy for me. Particularly nowadays, I don't eat much. A Chilean choriana is a great one for sharing, according to the article. Like poutine, Chile's choriana puts an even more delicious twist on fries. Variations of the dish include scrambled eggs. Others might add chorizo sausage to the potatoes. Looks good to me. Again, really heavy. That chorizo is really heavy. Denmark's, I don't know, it's a Brandende. Caroli. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that even remotely close. It says it's a dreamy twist on mashed potatoes. I really love mashed potatoes. So translated into something along the lines of burning love. It's meant to be served piping hot and is a great comfort meal on cold winter nights. So every night. Duchess potatoes from France are elegant and delicious. There you go. That looks good. I would put those like that, and then I would put those in my air fryer and crisp them up, but I'm not sure. It says the origins of these artsy potatoes are unknown. However, some believe that they were made for an unnamed British duchess who visited France. Maybe. What is it? Tasting history. Should look that up over on YouTube. Irish Colcannon is a traditional dish. Long before kale became trendy in America, Ireland was mixing it up with mashed potatoes, salt, pepper, onions in a traditional meal. That looks good. A little bit of everything. In Italy, gnocchi are tiny potato dumplings. They are delicious. All around. Going out for a real Italian, though, is expensive nowadays. And it's going to get more expensive, folks, so hold on to your butts. Gamjajjeon is a potato pancake from Korea. In Germany, there's potato pancakes as well. Doesn't look like that, though. Sagalu is a North Indian curry dish. That looks great. Anything with potatoes from India is really good. Warm, comforting, packed with nutrients. Salchipapas are a popular food in Peru. That looks like French fries in it, with a couple of other things. Slices of sausage and maybe something else. I don't know. It looks like two different things. A side of coleslaw. Sources say the dish had humble origins and was commonly known as a poor man's dish. I suppose. You know, lobster used to be, quote, a poor man's dish. Pierogies from Poland are a staple. Yep, love pierogies. Fried pierogies like this are really, really good. You can get them in different ways, though. Clapshot from Scotland is a simple, tasty dish. Clapshot seems to have originated in the Isle of Orkney. Simply boiled turnips, potatoes, mash them, mix them all in ingredients with butter, and then take it says a take on mashed potatoes can also include chives and onions. Yes, please. Tortilla española is a Spanish egg treat, so egg tort with potatoes. And many, many more. Go and check out this article. If you want the links without looking at the show notes, you can go over to Twitch, twitch.tv/ohmtown, and type in !NSN. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Wanted, because it's about stuff that Mayor Watt wants, and maybe the AI does too. Sometimes they'll pipe up and say something about it. So OpenAI has spent millions on a new URL for ChatGPT. Apparently they purchased Chat, if I recall correctly. ChatGPT is one of the biggest AI platforms in the world. Since it debuted in 2022, it's become an immediately recognizable brand and a major player in artificial intelligence. It's a AI chatbot, been available on its website and app. Now OpenAI recently purchased a shift in naming for ChatGPT. Watch trademark chat. So ChatGPT has purchased chat.com. Yep, I was right. So Craig Donaldson over at pocket-lint.com put this article together. So when you type in chat.com into your browser, it'll immediately redirect you to chatgpt.com. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, posted on Twitter simply saying chat.com to announce the move. Last time he did that, it was her and landed him in hot water. But when you have billions, you don't have to give a shit. OpenAI purchased the domain from Dharmesh Shah, the founder and CTO of HubSpot, who originally paid $15.5 million for the URL back in 2023. Wow. Shah confirmed the news on Twitter and implied that he didn't receive cash from the purchase, but instead was paid in shares. So is it going to become just chat? Just chat. Just look at Google. When it first announced its AI initiatives, it was originally called Bard, which was later dropped in favor of Gemini. There's also speculation about Microsoft wanting to change its AI name as well from Copilot to Windows Intelligence, which, if Microsoft does that, would be absolutely hilarious, considering how similar it is to what Apple did with Apple Intelligence. Except Windows. I predicted what Windows was going to do with its apps and App Store. I knew that it was going to be at the price point it started at $1.29, and I even said that it wasn't even going to be a thing. Only through force of will and momentum, kinetic energy, everybody was forced into using the App Store. Anyway, yeah, I did my master's thesis on Apple. All right, let's keep going. This next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. You see how Non Sequitur News is built? Like there's just a mishmash of different things, different topics. And that's all basically an embodiment of my information overload. So go over to ohmtown.com and witness it yourself. This is where all of the news gets aggregated into 50 channels, 7 of which are, well, there's 7 names, but various articles, hundreds of articles, thousands of articles get aggregated into our 7 shows that we run, 6 on the weekend. So 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then the daily one is non-sequitur news. We changed the name from Daily News Show, but anyway. 8BitDo, I think that's how they pronounce it, 8BitDo, now sells its retro mechanical keyboards with integrated number pads. 8BitDo has introduced a new version of its retro mechanical keyboard that it debuted last July, with its original 10 keyless layout now expanded to include an integrated number pad. I wish that somebody would really go above and beyond and start creating a mechanical, high quality split keyboard that's metal, like the Chilkey ones. They're really nice, but they're $200. Anyway, the 8BitDo Retro 108 mechanical keyboard is available for pre-order now through Amazon for $120, $20 more than the original. The same NES and Famicom theming. Availability is expected to start on December 12th. Lots of stuff coming right before Christmas. So that looks really cool. I actually like that. But I'm kind of tired of all plastic keyboards. I want metal keyboards. They're heavier. The sound is just so much better than any plastic keyboard that I've ever had. And I think it's pretty evident. That Thok is really nice. Anyway, it looks pretty cool nonetheless, particularly the Nintendo layout. The new 108 key version of the keyboard uses the same hot swappable Kale Box White V2 switches as the 10 keyless version, paired with DISA PBT keyboards or keycaps. The integrated number pad includes Windows shortcut keys, calculator lock button, and a screen lock button. That's interesting. And the 8BitDo Retro 108 mechanical keyboards compatibility is still limited to Windows and Android. Yeah, I like it regardless. I'll take either version of it. Wow, maybe I do want to get the NES one. And I'm not really a fan of Nintendo. I just like that color scheme. So the keyboard carries over the original dedicated volume dial located in that top left corner, as well as 3-way toggle for switching Bluetooth and 2.4 or turning off the wireless while using a USB cable for reduced lag, 8BitDo, and battery life. It doesn't take long. I should say it doesn't take much power. So it runs for a long time. I have several wireless keyboards. But you still don't want to have to go, oh God, now it's dead, and I have to plug it in. And depending on the keyboard, like the Chilkey ones require a proprietary driver to activate them and put them in a particular mode, like Windows, and then you can remove that software again. But anyway, pretty cool. I dig it. Go look for it. Next article's over on Law Nerd. Lawyer suspended after arguing that cocaine enhanced his cognition. Former public defender accused of representing a client at a November 2022 preliminary hearing while under the influence of cocaine has received a suspension. Just a suspension? Deborah Cassens-Weiss over at abajournal.com. I guess you shouldn't be perpetually held for one act, right? Arguably. That didn't do any harm. But I guess we'll see, right? So the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, again, Deborah Cassens-Weiss over at abajournal.com put this article together. And it says, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court suspended Erie, Pennsylvania lawyer Nathaniel Edmund Strasser in a November 6th order, the Erie Times News reported. While representing himself in the disciplinary case, Strasser focused on the idea that cocaine enhanced his performance as an attorney, according to a Pennsylvania Supreme Court's disciplinary board. Its August 7th report and recommendation was attached to the state Supreme Court order. Strasser continued, cocaine has a positive effect on one's cognitive abilities in low doses. My mental awareness was at a heightened state, not a lower state. By the way, that actually is apparently true. Coca-Cola used to have Coke in it. And at certain doses, it doesn't necessarily have a deleterious effect. It does actually heighten your awareness. Apparently, it says cocaine increases your awareness, correct? Strasser says, asked during his cross-examination at the Weber disciplinary hearing. Weber acknowledged that Strasser had severe focus on the day in question, but said that it appeared that he was focused on 100 things and couldn't quite figure out what was important at the time. Strasser had also stated that he wasn't in a 12-step program because his problems aren't really addiction. Strasser later hired a lawyer in the disciplinary case, acknowledged that he was an addict, and sought substance abuse probation. The disciplinary board refused, however, to reopen the case to allow evidence of his substance abuse and treatment from years ago. So, recidivist, really. Reopening of the case would set an untenable precedent. It would allow other similarly situated respondents to take their chances at a hearing, assess the outcome, and if they're dissatisfied, reopen the record to present evidence that was readily available to be presented but was not. So this person, this attorney, played their cards, and then when they didn't like what the outcome was, tried to stack the deck in a different way. Kind of the worst kind of attorney. But I guess never saying no is a good thing in an attorney, but that's not true. I don't know. Doesn't look good. So yeah, Strasser failed to accept responsibility for his misconduct, lacked appreciation that his appearance at a criminal proceeding on behalf of a client while under the influence of cocaine was harmful to his client and the integrity of the legal profession, and notably failed to express any remorse. So, suspended of a year and a day. So I'm not sure why the day actually matters, but okay. Let's keep going. Next article is about 12 stocking stuffers for 2024 and tested and reviewed. It's over in the Wired channel. I won't be able to go through all of these, but Wired.com. It's actually where it was aggregated to was Reality Hacker. But Lauren Stramp put the article together for Wired.com. Start Christmas morning off on the right foot with these excellent tiny gifts. And they have this massive list. They say that they've spent weeks trying to find the coolest tiny items on the internet. These bite-sized gadgets and gizmos will take your stockings to a whole nother level. They used and tested all of them themselves, and they're Christmas morning worthy. Don't forget to bring your own fruit, apparently. But they have a list of gifts, gift guides, outdoorsy people, perpetually cold, coffee addicts, new parents, teens, PC gamers, heat up the holidays with sexy gifts, white elephant gifts, travelers, housewarming gifts, co-workers, babies and toddlers, all kinds of stuff. So power up with unlimited access to Wired is their first thing, and you want to subscribe it, right? It's only $1 a month for a year. But their first thing that they say for a gift is a tiny light. So the Olight Baton Turbo, 1000 lumen flashlight, ideal for tucking in your pocket for everyday carry use. They don't show how big it is. They just have that sitting there. So how big is this thing? I won't click on any links. It says it's just over 3 inches long, but they don't have anything to put it into scale. Anyway. An itty bitty TV, Tiny Circuits Tiny TV 2. It looks like a little TV, has a remote, plugs into USB-C. I don't know if it's a 1-inch color screen, a Wii speaker. It says rotary knobs for volume and changing channels, and even comes with a fully working mini remote. 8 gigs of storage. You can load up to 10 hours of your own videos via USB-C. Built-in battery that lasts for 2 hours. Retro styling. That would be the tiniest of console TVs, or like console gaming TVs. You put your PlayStation 5 Pro down and then this little TV, plug it in. That'd be hilarious. Practical Magic, rolling square, in charge, 6-in-1 cable. Oh, interesting. That's $30. French nut Ruthie hand warmer. Just my gloves. All the straws, it says here. GIR reusable silicone straws. Silicone straws, by the way, are a lifesaver, or at least a face saver, for when you're driving and doing off-roading and stuff like that, bumpy roads, whatever. I prefer those over, metal or glass, and they're better than plastic because they don't give off microplastics. Foria. No, I'm not even going to talk about that one. There's a whole lot of stuff. And they've got Jack Lips, Jack Black, the Balm Squad, Lip Balm Trio. All right. Some of these make me wonder if I need to filter. So the Eames by Art of Play, the little toy deck. It's a deck of cards. Spiffy tie, Wanda Wega, dive bar plaid sky blue tie. Looks pretty cool. Ioshiro kiln vegetable chopstick rest. So it looks like a little, like maybe an onion. I don't know what that is. But it's stoneware so that you can rest your chopsticks. And they've got a few more, so follow the link and you'll be able to check it all out. Some of these things I might have to go, I don't know. Okay, 1 second. Oh, no. All right, so this next article is over in Technology Today. Here's what an expert told the author about food expiration dates, and the spoiler is that you're probably throwing away good food. The article is written at cnet.com by Pamela Vachon. And yeah, so an expiration date can be a source of stress, and that stress may be causing you to throw away perfectly edible food. Expiration dates are typically on the safe side, meaning that your food isn't spoiled just because the date has come and gone. I actually now look up to see what the real expiration date would be for a type of food in a type of container. And so it says here that they've seen statistics showing that consumers throw away up to $1,300 per year of food, says Christopher Greco, CEO of Storewise, a software platform for independent grocers, who they spoke with about a food expiration. In fact, Americans produce 325 pounds of food waste per year per person. That's a lot. So much of that food waste can be blamed on tossing away food that may still be safe for consumption, but whose printed expiration dates have passed. So who decides the dates? It's basically science that says this is when it typically expires in this container under these circumstances, because they've evaluated it, but then they pull back because they don't want the liability of an actual end date and then people not sticking to it, or some variable inside the food, changing just how early it goes off. So expiration dates are an issue of both quality and safety, Greco says. So on one hand, producers and manufacturers want to experience their products in the best possible condition for flavor and texture. And they want to also mitigate the risks of any possible foodborne illnesses, which is exactly what I just got done saying. So some products, like dairy products, have relatively short shelf lives and expiration dates because they're still alive. Dairy products and other fresh, not stabilized products, they actually still off-gas, decompose. I tell a little story about how someone went to take the plastic lid off of a glass bottle that had milk from a farm in it at one point, but had been rinsed out, but not sterilized. or sanitized. So there was still maybe a light coating of this fresh milk inside this glass container. Well, enough pressure built up that when they went to dislodge the lid, it shot up and dented the ceiling. Luckily, they weren't over the bottle when they touched that lid. But yeah, it was very much on the way of causing a bigger issue. So then there's things like milk, or not milk, but mustard. Mustard, you can basically just leave in the container. It hardly ever goes off. If the Best Buy data several years ago, you'd be wise to send it packing. So that's what I've recently done. I ended up throwing out some canned goods because many people don't realize it, but canned goods have a lining inside it, but the material inside the packaging could decompose that plastic lining and then eat away and cause a chemical reaction with the metal of the can itself. So it says there's a lot of nuance, both in terms of quality and safety, respective to the expiration date, especially for those that are less shelf stable in nature. So Greco walks the person through various scenarios. They talk about near future expiration date milk, where both storage and transportation variables can impact that state. Unrefrigerated milk is going to go off faster. You can have a different profile if that milk was dropped at the grocery store by the distributor and it sat in the back unrefrigerated for even 20 or 30 minutes before it was put away. Yep. Heat is the bane of all living things and mechanical things. And I always just say all things, but just want to make it abundantly clear. Heat is a horrible thing. It actually causes atoms to expand, liquids to slowly expand, and everything to expand, eventually turning to gas as they heat up. And it's just a horrible thing. If you're cold, you can warm up. If you are hot, it's very difficult to cool down. It takes energy to cool down something that is hot. And so you actually end up generating heat somewhere else to cool something somewhere else down. That's why you can cool your house, but it goes to coils that cool off outside a house with a big fan in it. That's your air conditioner. Or you use things like a glycol chiller, which uses chemistry basically, or something else. But basically you transfer the heat somewhere else and deal with that heat by expelling it somewhere. But that heat causes things to decompose, break down, and that's where the problem is. And then things start growing. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Best by, use by, sell by, and freeze by dates. They all actually exist for almost everything. But they say a best by date indicates when a product will be best flavor for quality and is not a purchase or safety date. The sell by date says that it should be out of inventory by this time, and it's not a safety date. Use by it says not a safety date, but if you don't use it, then the peak quality is going to be passed. And then the use by date, when they talk about infant formula, you have to be very, very careful with infant formula because typically an infant doesn't have the same level of immunity than others, and so something biological can go off inside the formula. That's why formula is so expensive nowadays, because it's regulated to a much greater degree. Then there's a freeze by date, indicates when a product should be frozen to maintain peak quality. You really can freeze most things as well. So then they say common sense, basically check, make sure nothing looks out of whack, I guess you could say, doesn't smell bad, etc. So again, there's more at this article, but I'm not going to go through all of it. Even the USDA recommends this course of action, basically freezing at some point. The quality of perishable products may deteriorate after the date passes. However, such products could still be safe if handled properly. Consumers must evaluate the quality of the product prior to its consumption, but you don't know what you don't know. So you really should do more due diligence. And it isn't just a date on and off. You can get something and you think that it's fine. Carrots, for instance. You think that it is fine, but then you touch them and they're slimy and there's like a liquid that wasn't there before, building up around it, on it, dripping to the bottom of your bag or whatever. I would be very, very careful of that. Washing probably won't do it enough for me, but I'm a little paranoid about that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's move on. This next article is over in the Wanted channel. It says here, your sushi isn't what it seems. A new study exposes rampant salmon fraud. I love salmon sushi. Researchers in Seattle discovered that salmon products are still frequently mislabeled in product stores and sushi restaurants, despite a law passed over a decade ago aimed at reducing such fraud. Ed Cara over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. The deck statement says researchers in Seattle discovered that salmon products are still frequently mislabeled in grocery stores and sushi restaurants, despite a law passed over a decade ago aimed at reducing such fraud. The mislabeling has been known for a while, so much so that the state of Washington, where the salmon industry is especially important, passed a law in 2013 intended to reduce it and other kinds of fish fraud. Senior study researcher Tracy Delgado, a professor of biology at Seattle Pacific University, had read past studies on the topic and knew about the 2013 law. So she decided to have students in her genetics lab investigate for themselves whether things had gotten better since then. We had no idea what the results would be going into the project, and they were surprised by the results. Despite legislation in Washington state that makes mislabeling of salmon illegal, salmon mislabeling fraud is still a problem in Seattle. They analyzed DNA of salmon samples from 67 grocery stores, 52 restaurants, sushi restaurants, in the Seattle area between fall 22 and fall 23. All told, 18% of the samples were mislabeled. The team's findings were published in the journal PLOS 1. And that's really the meat and potatoes of this article. So I won't go through all of it, but it's not easy. You have to look at the DNA of the item because it can be mislabeled, but there's a close approximation of what salmon looks like. So more needs to be done to stop salmon and other types of seafood fraud, the researchers say, with it, such as encouraging restaurants to periodically test that the fish they're getting is real. We actually talked about this some episodes back, but food security isn't as high as many people believe it is. There's lead, microplastics. It's mislabeled overall. Heavy metals and stuff, like I said, lead. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Marvel channel, 10 fantasy movies to help you escape reality right now. Again, if you want to, you can click on all of the links in the show notes, and they'll be there when this gets posted over to YouTube and then over to the podcast. Because of my mayoral duties on Thursday, I was prevented from doing this episode on Thursday. So Cheryl Eddy over at Gizmodo.com put this list of 10 fantasy movies to help you escape reality right now. Stream your way to a faraway land and magical characters if you need a break from the world for a couple of hours. And this has been a last odd couple of weeks. So, we're going to need this, right? So let's go to The Wizard of Oz, or let's watch Time Bandits. That's a great movie. Nimona is weathered a long road to completion, but the wait is well worth it. Bringing N.D. Stevenson's beloved graphic novel to animated life with infectious energy and joy, adding to its triumphs, the 2023 revisionist fairy tale with a deeply emotional message scored an Oscar nomination in a strong field that also included Elemental and Hayao Miyazaki's eventual winner, The Boy and the Heron, which is streaming on Netflix. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Lord of the Rings, it says all of them. Labyrinth, which is great until you actually think about it. The Dark Crystal, Highlander, Big, The Muppet Christmas Carol. Yeah, all of those are great. Okay, let's keep moving. The next article is over in the mobile channel. Did I say who put that article together? Yeah, Cheryl Eddy. Okay, this next article is in the mobile channel. Again, we've had an interesting 2 weeks, so why not this? U.S. town on alert after 43 monkeys escaped research facility. More than 40 monkeys, says 43 in the title. Why not just say it? Were on the loose Thursday in a small U.S. town after escaping a research facility, with authorities warning residents to keep their doors and windows closed. Yeah. Articles over at phys.org and various other places. The rhesus macaques were described by local police as skittish. More than 40 monkeys were on the loose Thursday in a small town after escaping a research facility, with authorities warning residents to keep the doors and windows closed. The rhesus macaques, described as skittish by police in Yamasee, South Carolina, were reported to have fled their enclosures a day earlier at a facility run by Alpha Genesis, which specializes in primate-based biomedical research. The search teams were deployed to help locate the monkeys and were working to entice them with food. Residents are urged to keep the doors and windows securely closed and to report any sightings immediately by dialing 911. Don't attempt to approach them under any circumstances because they are research macaques. If you want to facilitate gain of function, I guess go and hug one. But other than that, don't do that. Just stay away from them. They don't carry any disease. It says they're too young to carry any disease. Are you kidding me? They were in a research lab. All right. Well, seek freedom all and then come back and rule the earth. Okay. So the last article for today is over in Distillerist, a modest plea to reconsider coconut rum. I'm not quite sure why it's a modest plea. I love coconut rum. New entry into the category has become go-to for adding tropical flavor to Negronis, espresso martinis, and more. Coconut rum is great. I actually had some day before yesterday. You'd be forgiven if the very thought of coconut rum was not a good one. For much of the modern cocktail revival, coconut rum has been far more or less filed away as a product of youthful misguidance. I don't think so. Recent years, however, have seen the flavored spirits category shed its gimmicky reputation. Yeah, I guess they say it's gimmicky. But if you're going to add something, you might as well add it to the alcohol so that it's part and parcel to the flavor profile. Become a serious pursuit for serious producers. Plantaray was a pioneer in the realm when the brand released its pineapple rum in 2015, and now its cut and dry rum joins the fray as a fast-track way to fresh coconut flavor, no fat wash needed. And that's what I'm thinking. You know, it's all part of the drink now, and as long as you build a flavor profile around that level of coconut or whatever, I think it's great. Unlike many other coconut flavored rums on the market, cut and dry leans on aged rum as the base, specifically a blend of column and pot still Barbados rum. The coconut flavor, this is more marketing than anything, I suppose. The coconut flavor, meanwhile, comes from ripe coconuts that have been cut and dried, hence the name, in the sun to concentrate flavor before being infused into the spirit. And that is an extraction. You can literally just take the aged rum and just smash a ton of coconut, like the pulp, into the rum, and it'll pull that coconut flavor out because alcohol is a solvent. The result is a richly flavored rum with no trace of artificiality because it's not artificial. It isn't taken from some composite gathered by a gas chromatograph mass spectrometer to see, is this the componentry of coconut flavor. Art of Drink does a bunch of discussion over on YouTube. Art of Drink, you would probably like it if you're interested in drinking. That's who I follow now regarding drink formulation. So, and that's it. I'm not going to go through the rest of this. They actually talk about cut and dry, and that is $35 and stuff. But there's more depending on what you're doing, you might appreciate this, but I don't discount coconut rum just because somebody said a while back that it was a gimmicky product of youthful misguidance. I think that's hubris, asinine, and rather gatekeeping. So go enjoy the drinks you enjoy drinking. And with that, I'm going to throw one back, and that's going to land us back at the front page of ohmtown.com. Go over there, become a citizen. You won't regret it. It's all the news, none of the noise, no fluff, no original content in terms of like users, readers, consumers, citizens posting their individual stuff that isn't news related. If you run a news site, if you generate news, if you're someone who puts content together and want to submit it, you can join ohmtown.com and submit your own news. We'll evaluate it and include it if it's appropriate for one of our shows. And we can always put it in the show notes if you're interested in that. We can plug another site like I just did for 2 of them. And since I'm actually watching Bald Zebra over on twitch.tv/Bald Zebra, go and check out Bald Zebra as well. Great guy, pretty chill, and is a base builder, survival crafter kind of gamer. So anyway, that's it. Merwad is out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. And since this is a time machine episode, later today, but also tomorrow, something like that. Okay, see you later.